Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Angela, for inviting me to be here. I came over from the West earlier on today, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I suppose a few things I really want to say. I mean, I don't want to talk about what I do for a living because it's not very, very interesting, to be honest. When I was asked to speak this evening, what I did instead was actually to look at why we're all here. I thought that was more important, to be quite frank. And I suppose you guys are here to listen to us and to get our experiences, but you're also here to make connections and to learn from one another and so on. So briefly, what I do is enterprise and economic development. I've run my own business for the last 3.5 years, thankfully somewhat successfully because I'm still in it. But I actually didn't want to do this at all. You know, it's a funny thing. When I started out, and I have my break and emergency notes just in case I forget what I was going to say. When I was a teenager, I wanted to be a music journalist. In fact, as I was telling Howard earlier on, my biggest aspiration was to get on MTV as an MTV VJ. Do you remember what they were? Does anyone remember them? So I used to spend a lot of my time writing rants to Melody Maker, The Enemy, anyone who listened to me basically, with this aspiration that one day I'd be found. In fact, I used to trail around Camden hoping I'd be discovered. So anyway, the long and short of it is I did my leaving cert. I had a whole summer ahead of me where I was going to be, you know, sitting around plotting my entry into MTV. But my parents had other ideas. And basically what they said to me was, for God's sake, go and get a job. You're not spending all summer lying around the house. You've got to go to university in the autumn, so, you know, do something with yourself. Do something useful with yourself. And thereupon I discovered I quite liked business because I got into a small company who are still around and have changed tack a few times but are very successful, I believe. A company called Imagine here on Barrow Street. And I was like a duck to water, so I absolutely loved it. So fast forward many years later, I did a degree in business and I specialised in human resource management, completely based on the fact that I had tumbled to this notion that what I really liked was business strategy and getting things to happen by having people deliver those outcomes. So a few different jobs in the interim, working in big corporates like Tesco Ireland and a few others, and I discovered actually I didn't really like the big companies so much. What I preferred was the SME world, so I moved back into that. But anyway, that's all in the past. What happened, as we know, in 2007, 2008, and Mark very eloquently elucidated, things weren't very good. I lost my job. I was in a situation where I either had to move back to Dublin. I had, at this stage, moved back closer to where I'm from in the West. And I found myself in a situation where I could take that leap and actually start a business. So, as I mentioned at the very beginning, thankfully that business is still here and it's still up and running. And you know, I've had a lot of learnings along that journey and they're really what I'm here to talk about. But number one, what I can't stress enough is I joke about wanting to be a music journalist and so on. There was something in that because these days, thankfully, I do get writing work for the Sunday Business Post and Irish Tatler. So I never really let go of it in essence. But if I was going to say one thing on this journey, the key thing is that you stay true to what it is you're here to do. I know I've got an audience here who are SME owners, entrepreneurs, people who are working in corporate. If you do nothing with your life, find out what it is you're really good at and do it. Some of you might be in jobs that you kind of half like, but you'd prefer to be doing something else. You know, seriously, find that job you love and go to it like the gilded fly. The second thing I would say, and this is something that again I was just clarified for me over these last 3.5 years, you need to keep stretching yourself. I hate that phrase comfort zone, it's vile, but it's so important because actually if you don't actively look to move out of where you're comfortable, you never learn anything. I found things like this, I mean, if you told me 3-5 years ago I'd be doing them, I'd have laughed at you. So, you know, I live permanently outside my comfort zone. It's a really good place to be and you will enjoy it if you get into it. And then the last thing, and that's why we're all in this room actually this evening, is creating contacts and networks. I cannot stress how much of a reality is. You are the sum of the people you surround yourself with. If you're going to, you know, pick people who are going to continually tell you that it's a mad idea or why would you do that, that's crazy, then how likely do you think it is you're actually ever going to achieve what you want to do? So pick people who are, let's just say, constructively positive, you know, that aren't going to tell you that, you know, for example, launching a rocket off Croagh Patrick is a great idea, although a client of mine does want to do that. You know, that actually give you constructive support So that really, I suppose, it sums up my very short spiel. There was one thing, I know myself and Mark were talking all things poetry earlier on, but I love this quote: "Be yourself, everyone else is taken," and that's Oscar Wilde. So I leave you with that, folks. Thanks so much.